Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I am going to be doing a 2022 Senate election prediction. It is currently November 1st, which means we are it is nighttime, so I'm not going to include this day. We are about 9 days away from Election Day. I'll just say 10 days because it sounds better. There probably will not be many more election prediction videos coming out for the Senate, simply because maybe I'll have one or two more, but this is going to be very close to what I believe the Senate map will look like. Maybe I'll have a final prediction, or maybe two, depending on, how drastically things shift. But this is my Senate election prediction. We're 10 days away from the election. It's November 1st. And this Senate election prediction is going to have major implications for really Republicans' chances in 2024 of growing their majority, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But to get into our safe Democrat states, just to get right into it, actually, before I begin, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are at 583 subscribers. If we can get up to 600 before Election Day, that would be awesome. But yeah, that's really all I have for you. Let's get into our safe Democrat states. Safe Democrat will be David Padilla in California, Ron Wyden in Oregon. Hawaii will also be a safe Democrat state, as well as Maryland. In addition to Maryland, other safe Democrat states, I'll put the state of Vermont as a safe state. There was one poll with the Democrat only up 7 points there. However, I do believe it'll end up being a safe state. I also believe that Illinois will be a safe Democrat state. So that gets them to 42. Tammy Duckworth, I'll just put that in the safe category. 42 states safe for the Republicans. Republican safe states. This includes the states of Idaho. I believe Alaska will go to the Republicans regardless of it being Murkowski or Kelly Shabaka. Kansas, both of Oklahoma's elections will be safe. Schmidt in Missouri will be a safe Republican state. Going through the rest of the country, Republican safe states add up to 43 safe states. So 42, 43, including the safe states. Let's get into our likely Democrat states. Likely Democrat will be Chuck Schumer in New York. You've seen some polls that have Schumer only up about 10 points. That falls in the likely category. He'll probably end up winning, I'd say, 12 to 15%. But I'm going to put that in the likely category just because that's where it falls in. Richard Blumenthal will win by a likely category in Connecticut. Those two states, Blumenthal will win by likely. In Washington, you've seen that RCP characterize Washington as a toss-up state. If I actually go over to it, if I get the internet, you see Patty Murray is up 4.3, and it has significantly narrowed up in the state of Washington. I mean, she was originally leading by 18, 20 points. Then you had like this one poll up 3, which was by Trafalgar, so you never could take that seriously. But you could see that, she was slowly narrowing her grip. You have the Insider Advantage poll firmly up 2, Trafalgar up 1. You have these other polls that have her up 6, up 8. I think that she'll probably end up winning by about 6 or 7 points. That'll put her in the likely category. I don't think that Republicans have the biggest shot at the state. Even though it's a red wave year, Washington, in my mind, will still be a likely Democrat state. That puts them at 45 senators, secured. Likely Republican states. This would be J.D. Vance in Ohio. I know a lot of polls have shown it actually a very tight race between him and Tim Ryan. I think Vance will end up winning 5 to 6, actually probably like 7 or 8%. Tim Ryan is probably the best candidate the Democrats could have nominated in Ohio because he is much more moderate, or appears moderate, on the outside, especially with the things in his policy that he has spoken about. I still believe, though, that Vance will end up winning Ohio by a likely margin. Chuck Grassley and I will win by a likely margin. You have in North Carolina, Ted Budd will win by a likely margin. All of the polls there have shown him doing very well. RCP has it at lean. The average was Budd plus 4.5 against Sherry Beasley, who was the actual Supreme Court justice, I believe. He'll end up winning by a likely margin. Previously, you could see Richard Burr won by 5.7 in 2016, 12.1 in 2010, which was a red wave year. 2022 expected to be the same. He'll win, in my mind, 6 to 7 points in North Carolina. Marco Rubio in Florida will, in my mind, also easily defeat Val Demings, winning by probably about 10%. Mike Lee in Utah will also win by a likely margin, even with Alfred McMullen as a strange competitor on the opposite side, because Democrats did not nominate anybody to be their nominee because they wanted it to be more likely that Mike Lee would lose. He'll still win in Utah, even without Mitt Romney's endorsement. I don't really know what Mitt Romney's endorsement gets you nowadays. Lee's not going to win by 3 points. He'll win probably about 10 to 15%, just in that range. Not going to be super specific there. Colorado, Michael Bennet will win by a lean margin. You could possibly say likely margin. He probably, in my mind, would win anywhere from like 4 to 7 points. That falls in both of the categories. I'll put it in the lean category just because there aren't going to be any other lean Democrat states. But Colorado with Michael Bennet, he'll still win there. Um, but as I said, it'll just be a lean margin. I think that he'll win by a smaller margin, probably than Patty Murray will win in Washington. Although I could be wrong, but I do believe that that's it'll be pretty even actually between those two. Lean Republican states. This will be Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. He's been up comfortably 3 points in many of the polls recently. You can go look at the spread in RCP, which is what I always do. A few polls with him only up one, but overall, this Data for Progress, which is a Democrat pollster, had him up 5 points. And you can see how much that race has shifted since, June originally. He was down significantly, and since then he has only continued to grow. Mandela Barnes most likely will lose that race. Another lean Republican race is the state of Nevada. Adam Laxalt, former Attorney General of the state of Nevada, whatever you call it. He's been leading there by about a point, 2 points. He'll probably end up winning by about a point and a half, unseating Catherine Cortez Masto. That will be something that Republicans are an important gain. He'll be replacing Dean Heller. He's been running a very good campaign over there, and especially when you see shift in Hispanic enthusiasm of Republicans from being more enthused for Democrats to now supporting Republicans at a higher ratio. That makes sense. Coming in Nevada, you're going to see in Arizona similar results in my mind. But that's for all of the lean states. Our tilt Democrat state is Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire. That race has significantly narrowed up. At this point, I still see her narrowly winning. There was one poll with her down one against Don Bolduc. I don't know how to pronounce his last name either. Let me just update this because there should be, yes. So Bolduc up one against Hassan. She only won by 0.2% in 2016, and keep in mind that was not a red wave year, although Republicans did well. That was the year Hillary Clinton only won by 0.3 in New Hampshire. We'll see what happens there. There is very good a chance that he could win there. However, I do think she'll narrowly win. You see in the RCP, actually, their projection is that New Hampshire will flip. I'm not so sure that will happen. We're going to have to give that a few more days to see what polls come out of there. New polls. I don't want to just see one poll. I want to see a lot of polls showing that lead there. This is a red wave year, so you have to understand that there will be flips. There will be significant flips. But I'm going to put that at 54 at the moment. And then the remaining tilt states, I believe that Mehmet Oz will narrowly win against John Fetterman. After John Fetterman's debate performance, he has, appeared, nobody can write off how John Fetterman appeared in the debate performance. He was, clearly suffering from his recovery from his stroke. He clearly has some form of cognitive, I don't even know what to describe it, cognitive decline. And it's hard for him to articulate his points just in his first line, hello, good night. You can just see that the fact that he is struggling from that, and that obviously makes the people of Pennsylvania not so sure that they would want him representing them in the Senate if he is not able to articulate his points at a debate. In Georgia, I believe that Herschel Walker will narrowly defeat Raphael Warnock. This also depends on if this goes to a runoff or not. If Herschel Walker is able to get above the 50% threshold right now, neither of them have. So we have yet to see. However, there's no main libertarian candidate running. They just have to hope Walker, in his case, if he wins, has to hope that he gets above 50%. Otherwise, it'll go to a runoff, and that makes things just, unnecessarily complicated. But what we've seen is Walker, in most of the polls, up. Warnock was up in one poll, the New York Times Siena, but Walker has been up 2, 3, 4, 5 points, also another point, but that was taken a little bit longer ago. I wouldn't say he's the most articulate candidate, but he's popular in Georgia. He is African American. He's able to garner some African American support in new areas like Atlanta. I don't think that's going to be the main reason that would get him the win, but Herschel Walker does have that sort of appeal. And as I've continued to say, in Arizona, I believe that Blake Masters will upset John Kelly and win the Arizona Senate race. This is, in my mind, going to be the biggest upset of the night. Many people think, not John Kelly, Mark Kelly, that Mark Kelly is going to win Arizona comfortably. 2 to 3 points, similar to the margin that he won in 2020 and that Kirsten Sinema won in 2018, I think that Blake Masters is going to win. He came out of pretty much nowhere in the primaries, defeating Mark Brnovich, Jim Lamont. We see polls in Arizona where it is tightening significantly. When you look at the spread, it has narrowed up, if you might say. Now Kelly only leads by about 2 points. I just think that Blake Masters did very well in his debate performances attacking John Kelly. If you watch those debates, he attacked him on his immigration policy, on the gosh, I'm blanking on the name of the bill that was passed, the American Rescue Act, I believe it was called, in February after Biden became president, blaming him in some sense for the inflation, saying he voted for that. But overall, I do believe that Blake Masters will be the upset in Arizona. That'll be the upset of the night. If somehow Patty Murray loses, obviously that'll be a bigger upset, or Maggie Hassan loses. But in my mind, this is how I see the Senate looking at the moment: 53 Republicans to 47 Democrats. Now, just to briefly talk about implications for 2024, going into the 2024 Senate map, I'm just going to click on the 2018 Senate map because it's the same Senate map. So I'll just go to the RCP Senate map for 2018. There. All right. So, yes. So let's just do the results. Perfect. So all of these people are up for re-election in 2024. Republicans very well could gain in 3 states pretty easily, and I think you can see them. Montana with John Tester. John Tester narrowly won in 2018. You have Sherrod Brown in Ohio. You have Joe Manchin in West Virginia. So say Republicans get 53 seats this Senate election, they pick up three Senate seats. They win another 3 Senate seats easily in 2024. That gets them to 56 Senate races. And there are many other toss-up races that they can pick up. They have a good shot at picking up. They have Kirsten Sinema in Nevada. They have Jackie Rosen in Nevada. I mean, not Kirsten Sinema in Arizona, Jackie Rosen in Nevada. They have Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin. They have Debbie Stabenow in Michigan. They have Tina Smith in Minnesota. They have Pennsylvania, although that is a bit of a stretch. They have Mark Warner in Virginia, who did narrowly win not his race in 2018, but his race in, actually, my bad, not Mark Warner, Tim Kaine. That was a mistake, I guess. But you can see that there are a lot of states that the Republicans have an opportunity to gain. So say they take back Montana, Ohio, West Virginia, that gets them to 56 seats. Say they defeat Kirsten Sinema in Arizona, 57 seats. Say they defeat Jackie Rosen in Nevada, 58 seats. Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, 59 seats. Debbie Stabenow in Michigan, 60 seats. That's a supermajority in the Senate. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't think. Maybe it will. I mean, it's possible. But that's what I'm saying, is that the possibility that it will happen is there. There is a serious possibility that, depending on the results of this election and the next election, Republicans could end up with a supermajority in the Senate. If they win in New Hampshire, that'll get them 54 seats. Then they'll have 61 seats if you add that up. You have Minnesota second, as I said, with Tina Smith, possibly could be competitive. You have, Pennsylvania, which Bob Casey probably won't lose, but possibly could be competitive. So a lot of Democrat vulnerabilities going into 2024. They are going to seriously have to build up a good ground game. Joe Manchin is going to have to be very, very moderate. Let's just say that in the Senate, if he wants to retain his seat in the West Virginia as a senator from West Virginia. So going forward into 2024, you can see that Democrats are very vulnerable, and Republicans, I'm not saying it's going to be the easiest thing, but have a chance at getting 60 or more Senate seats, which will certainly give them significant power. And if they retake the presidency, then you will see a lot of Republican policies being enacted, of course, into the Senate and into policy, into law in the country. But anyway, that's really all that I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, comment below your thoughts on my election prediction. What would you keep the same? What would you change? Do you agree with the characterizations of tilt, lean, likely? Tell me what you would change. I'm always enjoy hearing what you have to say. Stay tuned for more videos. Pay attention to the polls. I will be releasing more videos in the near future. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.